Hello, dear wonderful people. Welcome to Marotopia. I am Robert, and this man here, this wonderful man, is Marc Romboy. Welcome, Marc.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Marc.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you see this? I'm drinking something from a cup of the best album of the planet.
Besides mine.
Now I have to clean my screen. Yes,
I actually wanted
of course, your album is better than mine.
Besides mine, I wanted actually to take my Abbey Road cup, but it's not large enough, so I took a usual one.
No, Abbey Road is too old school. Actually, how do you like my look? It's old school and new school.
Are you the Robert from the past in black and white?
No, I'm. The thing is, I have been on tour, and I was playing not only as Robert Babic, but also as. But don't tell anyone. I'm Rob Acid.
Oh, really?
And yeah. So I thought today I'm in an old school look because Rob Acid. Yeah.
I see. How was the tour?
Actually, just for the viewers outside, I had a tour and I was away for 2 weeks. I was in South Africa, in Cape Town, playing on a very nice festival. I met really cool people there, and then I was going home for exactly after 18 hours of traveling. I was home for 10 hours.
Tough.
10 hours, just repack my bag and go to Canada. And I had a flight Malta, Frankfurt, Montreal, and in Montreal I had to almost really directly from the airport going to the club and set up my gear and hardcore, and then I was playing 3 days in a row. I mean, yeah.
Welcome to post-pandemic DJ life.
Yes, but I was afraid after this 2 years at home that I cannot do it anymore. But you see, I'm still here, and I had fun. So no, I loved it to be back on the road.
Yeah.
Besides, the flying is still not my favorite. I mean, the problem for me is I cannot. I don't know how it is for you, but I cannot sleep on the plane. So usually when I arrive, I'm like, and if I have to go directly on the stage, it can be a little bit hard.
Yeah, but this is the life we all know, and
it's
all hate
we
and love
choose
at the
this.
same time.
So that's fine. Yeah, I'm not complaining. Maybe
for me it's pretty easy. I can't sleep in economy, and I can sleep in business class. That's as easy as it is.
Yeah, you cannot sleep at all.
No.
Yeah,
but business class you can. I mean,
yeah, for small people. Small people. For me,
no, I'm 188, man.
No, that really. I had the whole ticket was all Lufthansa, and I'm just too long for the Lufthansa. Really, I have to be like. For me, it's really hard. So it was better just to sit. But,
welcome to Marotopia.
Yeah,
welcome
by
Lufthansa, the airline of your dreams.
Welcome, dear people. Nice to be back with you and Mark and all these cool people here with us. And today is a super special show. Very, very special. You never saw this. We will be four old men who doing music at the same time in one stream.
Old man? I don't see any old man.
But I'm looking forward for our guests. I think they are cool. But actually, in Cape Town, on this festival, I found I had a really good time with a guy called Eric. His project or artist name is Deep Forest, and he was really interesting. Maybe I will try to get him on our show, because a really great composer.
Is this we know the guy we know from the 90s from France?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
And he's really cool, and we will do something together. We plan to do something together, like you and me.
Oh my
God. But he's really cool, and he has done a lot of music releases, but he have done Hollywood film soundtracks. Was really interesting. I was like constantly bombarding him with questions, and I really like when I meet people that have more experience and I can learn. I'm like, it's great, I can learn.
And how did the South African folks react to your music?
Super cool. Actually, I will come back for sure. Really. The people were so nice. The atmosphere was great, and the people were into the music. I loved it. It was really nice.
And the 10 hours at home in between your journeys, how did that feel? I know how it felt, but I want to hear it from you.
Actually, after this 18-hour travel from Cape Town home, I was so tired. I literally just fall into my bed, just shower, and I had my alarm to wake me up, and I was a bit hungry, but that's fine.
But actually, you could have stayed at Malta Airport, no, for this 10 hours.
10, yeah.
And then you didn't have any security check hassle anymore.
That's true, but because in South Africa, I was only having I was staying almost a week and just playing as Robert Babic, and for this Canada Rob Acid thing, I packed a separate bag, so I had to come back because I don't wanted to travel to South Africa with all this TB3 stuff. I thought, maybe it's better just to not to care so much.
I can completely comprehend this. And then Canada, 3 shows in one row: Robert Babic, Rob Acid, and Adlon Inc. as the third show.
No, it was Rob Acid, and to be honest, I didn't play a full Rob Acid show for many years, but actually it was fun. Like, really, I started with 140 BPM and no mercy, just full on energy, like
Boom.
Just beating the shit out of the sound system. Beep. And it was fun. I loved it. It was like, it was feeling fresh, after all this melodic tech. And, I love my music, my melodic music. But But
not that night.
you know, if you listen to this very slow and groovy music for so many years, sometimes it's nice to have this wall of sound that is like just pushing you, pom, 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 beating. And the sound system was really nice in Montreal.
Wall of sound.
Wall of sound.
Wall of sound, wall of drums.
Yes. So it was nice, actually. But Marc, did you travel? Had you any cool gigs in the last few weeks?
I was heavily working in the studio with a guy you know, and his name is Timo Maas.
He came again to your studios a second time.
To my place, and we
great.
finished 2 EPs,
Whoa.
which will be out end of April and beginning of May on Systematic and on DS Connect Records, a new label founded by our booking agency in Spain, DS Connect. And I was very busy with actually promoting my album, with giving all the interviews and blah, blah, blah. And that was a lot of things to do, actually.
And by the way, dear people outside, Marc, this guy here, he have a brand new album out. You need to listen to it.
You must. You must listen to this album, because it's an album made for aliens.
So
Here
you
it
are
is,
all
by the way.
aliens. Yes. Check this out. I heard Marc is really a great artist.
I heard that too. And I also heard some rumors that there is another album coming up on this label called Awesome Soundwave, the label of Carl Cox and Chris Go. Greetings to Australia.
Yes.
And after my album, there will be another album by an artist. What was his name again?
Who can this be?
Roberto Babichko.
Yeah, Roberto Babichko gave some. I recorded some flamenco with traditional Turkish coffee, and I pressed this on a cassette and sent it to them, and they seemed to like. So actually, my album is coming out beginning of June.
And what's the name of the album?
The Light of the Universe.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because the universe is black.
True.
The universe is dark, and that's you see. I like the light of black. So the light of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, music made for aliens and the light of the universe
makes sense.
They
right?
are not so far away, right? So people actually need both albums.
Right.
People need both albums. That's all of the question.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah. To come back to advertisement, I have another one.
Tell me.
Which is something which is running out of stock. And this is a t-shirt folks must have. And this is the incredible, legendary, unbeatable, best-looking t-shirt in the world.
Actually, mine is in the washing because I use this as a sleeping t-shirt. It works pretty nice. You can sleep really, I tell you, if you buy this t-shirt, you will have the best dreams of your life. You will dream that you are in the best studio with all this analog gear, and you make a #1 beatport track. If you buy this
Robert and Marc. You can feel Robert and Marc. Now in the Systematic web store, the last 7 Marotopia t-shirts, and you see what's below to the right. The Rob Acid 3x12 inch.
Yeah, it's
not
still
to
there,
be missed.
and it's still great. Or we have a real advertising show today.
Yeah. Enough advertisement?
Yeah. Let's maybe we just before we bring our guests, did you see the open letter of a lot of famous people, and they they are asking to stop working on AI at least for 6 months? Have you seen this?
No.
Like hundreds of big tech guys said that we have to stop working on AI because we have to understand what's going on. Like most of the companies don't understand their own AI anymore.
Yeah, but sorry, do you think that will happen? I mean,
No, of course not. But it's very interesting, I think. I mean, I don't know how much you follow the news, but it's crazy. Every day new systems come up, and now you have plugins that are connected to ChatGPT, and giving ChatGPT directly connection to the internet right now.
I have a very, very good recommendation for all Marotopians and also for you. But I'm quite sure you know this guy, because when you want to know the latest stuff about AI, you must follow this guy here, Matt Wolf. You know him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He knows everything. it's incredible. Really, really good YouTube channel. And he's constantly announcing the latest stuff. Really good.
Okay.
So maybe I put it in the comments. So
yeah,
that
why not?
Can follow him. Yeah, the question here. Would love to answer the question, but first of all, let me put the Matt Wolf link into the comments. Mark, love the album. Thanks so much. Exeter's an amazing track. Thanks so much. Where did the name come from? The place in the UK? Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think I can unveil something tonight. Because yes, it's the place in UK. It's in the southwest of UK, the town Exeter, and the tracks of the album are all connected to aliens and alien sightings, and 4 or 5 tracks of the album are named after places where aliens have been sighted. And Exeter is one of them. Hanenda is one of them. Belgium is one of them, and so on.
I think in Exeter you can get some fish and chips.
Alien chips.
We have to ask our guests because they are Englishmen and they can tell us about fish and chips.
I think they're rather Scottish. Be careful, be careful.
Oh, should.
Yeah.
They still have fish and chips, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I would love to get the first wonderful person inside our studio.
Yes.
He's around for a very long time. He's an amazing producer. He has released a lot of innovative stuff. He has released 1,000 releases on Soma recordings, like Daft Punk and Slam, and I don't know who else. A big hello to Mr.
Funk Devoid. Hi, everybody.
What was that?
That's a really nice intro. Thank you very much. I've been around since brown bread was invented. You know, I've been around too long. How many years? 40 years. And you know what? I'm back. And thank you very much for the invitation. It's great to see you, old friends.
Great to see you.
Love the show. Love the format. It's great. But I've obviously seen the show before. But yeah, I love what you do with the feedback thing, kind of similar to what I did on Twitch. So yeah, welcome. Thank you very much for the welcome.
Yeah, very, very nice to have you here. And first of all, I have mentioned this already. You have released Felt 1000 EPs and albums on Soma. How comes?
I don't know.
You are a true label hopper. Every release a new label.
Yeah, well, Soma was a long time. I mean, they were like family to me. We kind of like I'm doing my own things now and do other labels, but yeah, it was for like 20 years. Did some classic singles there, emotional content, Jack Me Off, Diablo, etc., Bad Coffee, and all that. So yeah, and now I just do my own thing, and I do a lot of remix work. I do mentoring as well. I've got a new show that just came out yesterday called Belters, so that's focusing on DJ promos. So I just keep myself busy, and obviously I'll see you guys in the retreat next month as well. So that's the thing we can look forward to. We're going to talk about that.
You are too fast.
I'm sorry. There's so much happening.
You talked about 8 topics in 9 seconds.
Yeah, that's ADHD for you.
Cable is now.
But I just thought when I think of Funky Void, for me it's percussion and chords.
Right.
If I see percussion and chords, it's connected to your name for me.
Thanks. Yeah, chords is my thing. I love strings, chord progressions, and funky beats. That's my thing. Yes. I like having a nice funky groove going. And I guess my earlier records were a little bit tougher, but now listening to modern techno, it sounds like the BPMs have caught back up again. Because I was doing tracks around 140, 42. Jack Me Off was 138. Now it fits in perfectly with what's being played now.
Yes.
So it seems like it's come full circle, apart from the kind of more kind of trancey stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just mad how the BPMs have gone back up. It's come full circle. That's dance music for you, though, isn't it?
Just that they implemented Euro dance into techno.
A little bit,
somehow.
Right?
Okay, first of all, we would love to get to know a little bit more about you. And one wonderful question, although a classical one, is how did you get to electronic music? Do you remember the first encounter which made you clicking to electronic music?
Yeah, I remember the moment. I think it was. Yeah, I was listening to early Transmat records in clubs, house and techno. It was like Chicago house and Detroit techno was out around, late 80s. That was kind of coming to the forefront. We had Steve Silk Hurley at number 1. It was the kind of acid house. Yeah, it was like, I was like 17, whatever. And then I do remember hearing these tracks and going, what the hell is making these sounds? It was more about an epiphany, when you hear that life-changing music. It's like... I think it was like Nude Photo by Rhythm is Rhythm was probably my first record where I was like, what is making this sound? And it was like, that's the moment of when I fell in love with electronic music. Even though my mother was a pianist and she used to bring home synthesizers from her work and leave them with me, and I used to play with them all day. And it was absolutely another way of getting into electronic music. But there was that spiritual moment when I heard one track. And that was my beginning of my love affair with Detroit techno.
And which synth was your first one?
My first synth might be the sequential. Yeah, I mean, we're going way back in time. Probably it's Juno 106. Juno 106. Sequential Circuits Pro 1. We're going nerdy here, but yeah, it was a Juno 106. Was my main amazing absolute godlike synth, which was just it permeated a lot of my tracks for many years, 10, 15 years. I could kick so many good sounds out of it.
I mean, wow, it's still
I expected something else.
Still nice.
I expected something else because maybe you forgot another one you had before. I could imagine, because my first synth was I had it in something like 1982, 83, and it was the Casio VL1.
The Casio VL1, the Trio Da 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 one.
Exactly.
That one.
The handy one.
Yeah, the little white one with the little...
Did you have this one before?
I had it. I saw it. I never bought it, but I saw it. I remember playing with it when I was in school. Maybe that we're talking like early 80s, no? Maybe mid 80s.
One first sampler. Yeah, I started with Tracker on Amiga. Amiga. I'm one of this nerdy.
That's who uses that? Synthwave artists use that to write music. It's got this certain way of arranging tracks and a certain sound. Tracker, yeah. Mitch Murder still uses trackers, I think. A lot of synthwave artists still use trackers.
I'm happy I don't have to use the synthwave.
It looks really time-consuming and laborious, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to write every note. And
everything numbers, all the velocity. I mean, what the...
Hell. What the DJ hell. Okay, and then you started to produce music, and how did you...
It was old school. I made a tape. Well, I was lucky. I had a music professor that brought me under his wing, so I had a mentor at a young age. So yeah, I used to have full access to his home studio, and he taught me everything I knew about MIDI, and like I was just in love, like playing with an Akai S950 sampler for days, sampling my favorite records because I was DJing a lot. It's just being in the studio when you're just hungry for it. It's just it's like you're in this little cocoon. It's heaven. It was heaven. So I was just having fun sampling everything. I think the most fun I've had in the early days was sampling records, sampling my own record collection and just making things out of that. And then after that, yeah, just kind of my first EP got signed from Soma. What are we talking? 1995 or something. Yeah, I gave them, like, it was old school. I followed them to the after party and gave them one of those cassettes. Remember cassettes? Tape cassettes? Of
course. Yeah.
With 4 tracks on it. Yeah, I just gave that, 4-track to them, and then I got a phone call the next day and they signed the EP. And 2 months later, I left my day job. Boom. Now I'm looking for another job. Only joking. Yeah, so it's all good. So yeah, that was the way I started. Back in the day, it was kind of like, yeah, part of that whole scene, the Glasgow was like a crucible for the acid house kind of cultural phenomenon. UK back then was just on fire. It was just like it was the best place to be young, and during that time in the UK was,
Did you drive to Manchester or London?
Yeah, we used to do it all the time for parties. If there was like a party the weekend, there was no like internet and stuff like that. We used to just like see a phone number in a phone box that just said rave here, call this number, meet here on this highway. And then we used to drive around the highways and like, can you hear it? Yeah, we'll roll the window down and listen for the music. And then crossing fields, cows. There's cows in the field, and you're going to this like crazy kind of like festival scene. But yeah, that was the way we used to do it when we were back on days in the raving days. It's a little bit different now. It's a little bit more corporate, but yeah, still the essence of rave.
This funny little colorful pills, right? Instead of fish and chips.
I heard you called us English before. Did I hear that correctly?
That was wrong. Okay, sorry.
That's a fate worse than death, my friend. I'll let that pass, but I'm not sure your next guest. Your next guest is not going to let that pass. I'm sorry, the next guest. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but yeah. It's okay.
I mean, I call myself human on planet Earth, so I don't see, for me personally, I don't see all these borders.
I have a little tip for you. Next time you say Earth citizens.
Earth citizens.
But I knew this coming, that you will not like this.
I mean, I was only joking. I don't care. I mean, it's like the whole Scottish thing, that whole animosity between the English and the Scots. It's all rubbish. The planet was round last time I looked. No borders.
When you've been to space?
Yeah, I checked it out when I was in a spaceship. Hey, listen, Mark, your album's awesome. I just checked it out earlier today. I love Black Triangles. That's such a freaky track. Really good. All of them are killers. I mean, the whole album is just bang, 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 bang. Well done. Congratulations.
If it comes from you, it will mean a lot to me.
I mean, the production is faultless, man. Really, 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 really good stuff. Always from you. Always. I mean,
the black triangles are the UFOs, which are always moving hectically.
Ah, okay. I'm looking forward to playing that. I'll play it in Berlin next week for sure. Some of the tracks.
Super. Let me know the feedback. Yeah, and so many releases on Soma. Have you ever met the Daft Punk guys? Because they're also released on Soma.
Yeah, we used to pre-mask. I've met them pre-mask. I've partied with them. We've been to Ibiza together, partied in Glasgow. I mean, before they got the masks, they were very just like two regular French dudes. I did this amazing kind of like really kind of raw original tracks that stood out and fitted with every set, you know, rolling and scratching. I mean, half of these are still playable today, and that just goes to show how talented they were. But yeah, it was a very amicable thing. They were signed to a big label, and it was just a natural progression for them to move on to bigger and bigger things. So yeah, that was a nice kind of like the beginning stages of Soma to hang out with them and be part of that kind of like embryonic Soma family, you know.
Is the label still there? Is
Soma's still going? Yeah.
Still around.
Oh. They're still whacking them out. Yeah. It's contemporary techno mostly these days. Yeah, it's good stuff. Just banging, but good. Yeah. I mean, we did a bit more. It was like, I mean, back in those days they were releasing all kinds of music, but now it's kind of more in the techno tip, I think, or electronic stuff. So it's still doing well.
Nice. And I have just seen in your discography that you, and that's something I forgot about, or maybe, whatever. I saw in the discography that you made a mix CD for Cocoon.
Yeah, Cocoon was great. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, my favorite, I did a one for Soma as well called Cypher Hypher, but for the one for Cocoon, yeah, I put a lot of work into that. And it was all vinyl only. I mean, back then it was only vinyl. So yeah, it was just, it was really good fun to put together. I do like putting mixes together. That's why, I don't know, it just becomes second nature to me. This new show I'm doing, Belters, I do this every week. I get all the new tracks, put it all together in a kind of, in a way that I can put on the radio show. And it's actually great talking over it. It kind of moves on from my old Twitch shows. Remember my Twitch channel? So now I'm just moving more into this kind of like pushing new music. I want to hear the next big thing. That's my thing. I want to hear the next, you know, something that excites me. Instead of looking to the past, I want to look to the future. And, you know, looking for new talent, obviously. And that's good with the demos, what you do as well. It's great to hear people's music and where they're at.
Mark, do we have a link to his show somehow that we can show here?
Yeah, the SoundCloud, we just put this up on SoundCloud. Let me see if I can find that right now. I'll stick it in. We can stick it in the chat, right?
Yeah. Would be nice to show the people, and
sure,
they can have a look and listen.
I think I gave you the SoundCloud link actually before, but here's the one to the last show. I can stick it in the chat, right?
Yeah, Andre will put it into the comments. Yeah, to come back to your Cocoon Big CD, I just see the track listing, including D-Tron, Zoo Brazil, Carl Craig, Luciano,
nice.
Jesse Rose. Is there any track we could re-explore to play after almost 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with these compilations, I like to...
I can show it to you if you want. Just a second.
They're all tracks I would play again. That's the thing about these compilations. I like to make timeless compilations. I don't want to make a CD that's going to be in the trash like in a month. It needs to have that kind of longevity.
Yeah, have a look.
Let's have a look at the track. I haven't seen this track listing for a long time. Belter's link is up. I should be put in the chat soon, hopefully.
Oh. 2004, okay.
To be honest, I don't know half of the tracks.
Nice. There you
go.
go.
What would you recommend to me to re-explore?
I can't even see that. It's so small. Let me see. I can't really see that. Yeah. I mean, I can't read that. Just choose one, whatever. I don't know. Maybe the
Zoo Brazil, Dangerous.
Yeah, Zoo Brazil. I still play that on vinyl. I mean, that's actually one of my favorite go-to tracks. Zoo Brazil. Yeah, play that one. He's a Swedish chap. He's actually very, very good producer. Still plays tracks. You know, still releases good stuff.
Due to the fact that I know that you have a very good taste, I will go through all of them and check them out.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, we have another guest.
Yes.
Shall we let him in, Robert?
Yeah, sure. Where is Mr.
This guy
Harvey McKay?
He's an amazing producer. He released on so many labels, like Sorara, like Bedrock, like Cocoon, like Soma, like X, like Y, like Z. A big welcome to Mr. Harvey McKay.
Hello.
All right, big man.
How you doing? All right,
Almost
Lars. Just before I forget, like with Lars talking about going to the big raves and all that back then, I actually remember. I think it was 2000, and we ended up driving all the way up to this rave that was meant to be in Oban, but it was meant to be a secret. But there was taxis like everywhere in the middle of the countryside, like all heading the same direction. I'm like, it's not much of a secret. It was like a taxi rank to this field.
Wow. Yeah, the good old times, right?
Yep.
But we had this kind of parties beginning early 90s as well in Cologne, in Germany.
I just read
somewhere in the forest. And, yeah.
I just read the book from Carl Cox. Have you read it?
No.
Someone read it? And there's one scene he describes from the beginning of the 90s where he was driving to a show, to a club, and realized after 30 minutes of playing that he was in the wrong club. And to be honest, it happened to me once as well.
I've slept in. I mean, there's one terrible. I think it was in Dijon where I've overslept and slept through the whole. And no one woke me up. Like the promoter didn't wake me up. Then my alarm didn't work. I woke up at 7 a.m. and the club was shut. The club was across from the hotel. No one said anything. It's like, do you not miss me? I was supposed to play it 4 hours ago. It's only once though.
That was the same. I was actually in Germany once, and it was me and Max Cooper. And I'd set my alarm on my phone. I'd asked for a ring back in my room. My phone didn't go off, and they forgot to call me. And the phone started ringing, and it was the promoter saying, "Harvey, where are you?" And I'm like, I was just waking up. And he said, "The driver has been waiting downstairs for 40 minutes. I'm like, why are you not shut my door?" So, but it was the Autobahn, so we still made it. So,
I had something where the only time I ever smoked something.
Careful now. Careful.
Before the show, I was sleeping so hard that the promoter had they were shouting on the door like, Robert, wake up! And I was like, oh, what?
Dead to the world.
The hard days of Rob Acid.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, another time I just fall off the stage because I sleeping.
Yeah, that whole DJing traveling lifestyle, it really screws your body clock. It's just like when Harvey woke up there, when you woke up, it feels like you don't even know where the hell you are half the time.
It's
like
it was a common thing for me, waking up and asking, did I already play? Where I am?
Or what country am I in? I remember. I remember once I was playing in Houston, but I woke up and I'd been touring that much that I woke up and I went down in the hotel and there was loads of Hispanic people in the hotel all talking Spanish. I thought, I must be in Spain. And then I walked outside and I seen like a big SUV and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, Houston.
Yeah.
Could have been Miami though.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, another country. So tonight we will talk about a country called Spain, where Lars is, but not Spain in particular. We're talking about Ibiza. Ibiza. Ibiza.
Ibiza, mate. Ibiza.
So
that's how we say in London, mate. Yeah.
Can you pronounce Ibiza?
Ibiza. I mean, there's so many ways to say it. I like to say Ibiza. But yeah, it's
we say Ibiza.
Ibiza. A pizza. Dame una pizza, por favor. Yeah, I mean, it's like... But yeah, Ibiza, it's Ibiza, yeah. I don't know why I always say it with a London accent. But yeah, we're all going there, aren't we?
But
we're all going, right? Harvey, when are you going?
Yeah, I'm going in April. So I'm doing the retreat in April. This will be the second one I've done. So really enjoyed the first one. It was really good. Everybody seemed to get quite a lot from it. So no, it was a really good atmosphere, really enjoyable experience.
Yeah, this is one reason why you are our guest tonight, because this guy,
We need
hopefully not the
guy
only one.
and this guy haven't been there before.
Yeah.
So you must tell us now what to expect. What can we expect there, and what can people expect there who are booking this retreat?
Yeah, because it's 3 of us. We'll
But
try to
We
help
are newbies.
people. Yeah, we are newbies.
yeah,
But we are teaching.
The thing is, it's kind of like you're really there and you're mentoring people. But see, I mean, there's one of the things that we got when we finished the last session. There was lots of people that went, and as I spoke to you guys before, there's lots of people when they'd went and done other sort of music things as well in the past, and they said the one thing that they liked about this is it wasn't like this classroom structure thing. Everybody's there, they've got their laptops, they're working in their music, and you're there to just help them and mentor them and get them through, so when they're stuck you can come over. And it's problems that people might have been stuck at for a long time, and just that personal touch when you're there, and you can physically show people, try this, and you can see the light bulbs going off in their heads. And I think that's the thing, because it's very impersonal. Everybody's just hanging about. You get to know people very quickly, and you become friendly, and it's just a really nice, relaxed environment, and very organic. And people just seem to everybody really enjoyed it last time. And at the end, it's just like it's almost like everybody's vibing and having a kind of holiday experience together as well. So the whole thing went really well last time. I really enjoyed it. So I mean, that's why I'm going back to do another one, you know.
And I'm looking forward to doing that with you as well. I mean, you actually put me onto these guys as well, and I appreciate that. So I'm really looking forward to teaching and mentoring with you as well. Thanks for that, Paul.
And what is it about? So is it because I remember that one guy in the comments, he asked, do I have to know anything? Do I have to bring my computer, my DAW? How advanced do I have to be? What can you say? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, you need to bring a laptop, obviously, and stuff like that. But it does it. You need to be able to, because you're there to bring your own projects to work on, and then we help you through them. But see, the thing is, last time there was ranges from stuff that was literally like 99%, but needed that wee bit of polish and just getting over the edge, to somebody that had literally just started and maybe had like one one-to-one like online before the course, and all that we did, and everybody made an effort to just make an extra special effort to give that person a little bit more support. And by the end of it, they had tracks finished towards the end, you know, and at the beginning they didn't have a clue, you know, they were literally just going, right, where do I start? And so everybody just puts a little bit more effort in and slightly adjusts the way that you're mentoring them, you know.
Okay, so is it just about the technique to produce, or is it also about other topics like, let's say, psychology, marketing, creativity, and other things? What are people asking for?
Well, see, the thing is, when we're there, we're basically there to help them with their productions, their sound design, their arrangement, their creativity, everything to do with getting the music done. But then at the last time at the course, they've got like an A&R section at the end, and they've usually got somebody from the industry to come and give you feedback. And so you get feedback from somebody in the industry that actually is an A&R. So you've got us helping you with your music during the week on the lead up, and then towards the end you've got somebody there to properly critique it and give you some advice on where you're going right and where you're going wrong and how to adjust it, or from the view of somebody that would sign a record to put it out. Because I know that's different as well, because I mean, you're being creative to create a bit of music, but somebody in an A&R can look at it. And I know it's not pretty to say this, but this is sometimes what A&R guys do, is they'll be thinking about what market it fits in and stuff like that. And they can give advice in that form as well. So it kind of sits in the middle.
When I meet people, they often ask, how can I reach the labels, and how can I show my demo so that somebody listens? Would you say that the treatment is something where people have the chance and enough time to present themselves and their music, and that you have the possibility to discuss the possibilities and options, how you reach the A&R managers?
Well, that's the thing as well, is because the retreat, because you're kind of there with them for a prolonged period of time, you start to hang about and you're getting all these kind of chats, and everybody there has had a different experience in how they've navigated their contacts and worked their way up through the industry. So we can sit and explain. I mean, I know how I did it, but I'm sure it's slightly different from Lars and yourself and Robert. So having everybody there, you hear these slightly different angles. And that's one of the things that I think is quite good as well. As, and I've noticed that sometimes if you'll be helping somebody with a track and you can show them something, but there would be something, say then Lars would come along afterwards and show them that I wouldn't have showed them. So you've not just got the benefit of being mentored by one person, like you would be with from some other. You've got all these different creative forces and processes, and you can glue them all together, which is a bit of a luxury that you don't usually get.
And how can we imagine a day? I mean, I think it's 5 days or so. So it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. more or less. So how is the day going?
Everybody just gets up in the morning, chills out, has breakfast, couple of coffees, and then everybody just starts working in their tunes, and then that's it. We just kind of plod away. Everybody's working in their tracks all day. We're going about mentoring them, helping them. Then we'll grab lunch, then the second half of the day, and then that's kind of what the week's like. But over the week, we kind of really, as the week goes on, if people are struggling, we'll really try and make an effort to make sure they've got a track to the line when it gets to the end of the week, that it's in a place where we can hand it over to the A&R so that they can give them proper critique for their music. So as the week goes on, then we just make sure as it gets to that date, we start to intensify it a bit just to make sure everybody's caught up.
Okay, and I'm not the only one who is new. Robert, Lars, any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to. Is it 1v1, right? I want to do 1v1v1. I'd like to collaborate with you as a mentor. Have your opinion with someone's track. I don't think it should just be.
Oh no, that's you're right. I mean, that's one of the things we'll do. A lot of times, if like I've said the same. So like there was a guy working on some really nice tech housey stuff, and Raman was working with him last time, and I could see him listening, and he's like, "What do you think?" So I come over and I would listen to it. Yeah. So we're like, so he would think. So like one of the tracks we were working on, and the guy's track was sounding really nice, but he brought a vocal in, and it was just a bit obvious and a bit cheesy, but it was kind of borderline. But Raman had listened to it, and he's like, "What do you think?" And he was waiting to see if I said the same thing. And so
stick it down an octave, a bit of filter on it, boom, done.
yeah. Just a wee bit of reverb and fade it in the background.
I can teach the people to delete their plugins.
I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I have got my way of working. I'm still learning. I'm obviously not as kind of, I still think I'm on the learning path because I've kind of winged it, but I do know about chords progression, what works, hooks and stuff like that. I always think my drums could sound better on my general mix. I'm always questioning myself. So it's nice to have this goal of like, trying to get them to make a finished track in a week. I like that. That's something I think I can work with, because I do like a challenge like that. So.
Do you know what I like in general so much about making music? You wake up in the morning and you have this white sheet of paper. There is nothing. You open your Ableton Live or your Logic and there is nothing. And when you go to bed, there is something new. You have created something new, like a painted picture or, but it's music, and 24 hours before it wasn't existing. That's so fascinating. And then you give it a name, you release it. It's a bit like your baby, right? Isn't it?
It's funny as well.
I think I'm the crazy one because I'm literally waking up and I was dreaming of making music, and I wake up with a track in my head.
Wow!
Quite really.
I actually
quite a lot of times.
I did that this week as well, and it was like I don't want to say it because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. But I literally had a dream, and the dream was it was this really famous vocal, and it was a track, and I heard it in my head. But then when I went to actually rip the sample and then start building the track, I realized the synth line and the bass was from another track, and my brain in the dream had merged the two of them and made them one song. So I was like downloading the parts, putting them all together. I'm like, it fucking works, it works. But I heard it in a dream, you know? And it's one of the things you say as well, Matt, is that when you're getting up and it's a fresh sheet of paper, the fact that you're literally creating something from nothing, and there's no better feeling as well. If you're working in music and you get loads of ideas done, say you really hit a bit of form and you get 2 or 3 little really solid ideas done, and that way when you wake up and you go, oh, I've got them sitting ready, you know you've got something really strong to go and work on, and it's very exciting.
I think, absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah, please, Lars.
I think on the flip side of that, I do hear where you're coming from, but I have a lot of problems facing that position in the studio in the morning. I have to really sit myself down, as you say, get the piece of blank paper in front of me. It has to be on all the time. I have to have all the machines ready, because sometimes I don't feel like hitting it immediately, you know. I still have that enjoyment of creating something that works or I'm happy with, but I do have that self-doubt thing. Also, I have ADHD, so this is difficult for me to focus on certain things. So one of them is finishing projects. I'm terrible with that sometimes, but recently I've been training myself to kind of like to finish things on time and get more vibed up about music. But when you've been doing it for as long as we have, do you have any tips on how to like break it up? I mean, are you constantly like, oh, I'm in the studio for 8 hours a day? I can't myself personally do music for more, maybe, or be creative for 3 or 4 hours. That's maximum for me a day. It takes too much to my soul.
I find, Lars, that either I'm where you are or I'm completely the other way. And I find once I get that little addictive bite where I get something really strong and I'm off, it gets to the point where I start to worry about my ears, because I'm just so constantly music. Like for last year, I put out so much music, and it was because, and usually I wouldn't like to, but I was creating so much and it was all so different. And it got to the point where I was like, I literally need to give my brain a break. But I find when it's almost like your brain sort of like literally rewires the circuitry for that reward system. And once it gets really strong enough, it's like your brain's locked in and it's like, this is all that matters. And I found that when I was in that zone, like kind of the beginning of last year, I found that everything else I went and done was boring. No matter what I got up, watch the telly, bored, walk the dog, everything was boring until I sat down at the computer. And then my partner would go to bed, I'd put the headphones on, and like you were saying, Robert, sometimes I would wake up at 3 in the morning, my brain would be like, you could do this, and I would be away and do it. But then when I give myself a good break, because literally I'll need to give my ears a break, when I give myself a break, if it's just for long enough, I go back and it's like that little chain has broken and it's like really hard to get back into it. But once I'm in, like I'm just, for the past couple of weeks, that's me locked in again, and I'll be locked in for a few months. But for the past few months, I would be like 1, 2 hours. But once I just made that connection, that was it. I'm just stuck in again.
Yeah, and something which is maybe very helpful for any producer is the matter of fact that we must produce bullshit and bad tracks and boring tracks, because we need the contrast. I mean, imagine you would make an amazing track every day. That's impossible, because not every day is an amazing day. And back in the days, I struggled a lot. I was so angry when I went home and spent 7 days in the studio without any great result. But nowadays, with my wisdom, I realize that you need the contrast. You need to make boring things in order to appreciate the great music you make, right?
Or get new toys. That's another one.
New toys, yeah. But my advice would be finish every idea you start. Even if you think it's not worth it, finish it. You can delete it after that. No problem. But finish it, because every time you finish a track, you learn. And this knowledge is very valuable for later on when you have like a really great idea.
I like that.
Robert, I have been saying that exact sentence for literally exactly because one of the things that I find I mean, I'm literally repeating what you said, but the thing is, one of the things people tend to do is if they'll have loads of unfinished projects because they'll get to a point in the track where they're stuck and they don't have anything in their toolbox to get them by this section. And every time that even if they don't like it, if they force themselves to get it to a finished product, they've figured out how to get from this part to that part. And every time you do it, you get more and more and more tools. And then when you come to a problem, you can go, I could do this, I could do that. And over the years, you build this up. But if you don't do that, you're never going to learn. You're getting to the problem and then just going, I'll start another one. And I think it's easy to just say, it's not good enough. But loads of tracks could have the potential. But yeah, it's funny. You like literally word for word what you said.
Yeah,
it's so important.
No unfinished tracks on my hard drive. Nothing.
Yeah,
everything is finished. And if I'm not happy with the project after, I actually literally delete the folder. I don't keep it.
So it's gone forever.
It's gone. It's what for? I will never touch it again. I mean, Marc is completely different because I'm working very fast. I do one track per day.
Wow.
Right?
Amazing.
I start.
I do one every 10 years.
Maybe 4 or 5 hours, it's finished.
I hurry up, Lars.
I'm working on it.
I'll finish the remix before you finish the track.
But Lars, I invite you here. We can do something together.
I would love to come over.
You learn to be fast.
That beautiful island you're on. Yes, I would love to come over.
Yeah, you are invited.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Robert, I would love to give you hints, so maybe we should coach each other as well.
Yeah.
We are already doing this.
I'm going to be asking you tips in Ibiza for sure.
What I do is I don't throw it in the trash bin because a track consists of, let's say, 20 solo tracks, right? And you can always take a solo track for a new track as well. Because even if the track is boring, you have maybe a very exciting hi-hat figure or a cool bass sound. So what I do is I always put single tracks into the browser, give them a name like Great Hi-Hat or
Me too.
I don't know, Super Drone or I don't know what, or Sounds Like Funky Void. And then I can still use it because, as you say, every moment you make music is a precious moment because we're living in a time where we can capture it. I mean, I remember other times like 1993 where you had to finish a track and then it was gone. But now we can save anything we want. And how great is that?
Yes, especially when you had an S10 sampler where it had 4 seconds of sample time.
Yes.
Sample.
More than enough.
I mean,
I came from Amiga. I think I had 1.5 seconds in good quality.
I mean, enough is enough, no?
Oh, MPC 3000 was, how many? Was it 32 megabytes on the MPC 3000? I think I did a whole live set with that.
Yeah, MPC 3000 was my main sampler for many years. On the stage. Yeah, you just had a few seconds. Yeah,
and, everything mono, samples in mono.
The magic trick was always speed up the sample it, and pitch it down, so you have more time. Yeah.
Crazy. Remember those zip drives? Oh my god!
I hated them.
They're in some trash fill somewhere.
Okay, I have a great idea. Why not simulating the camp and the retreat? So we have 3 demos for you guys.
Nice.
And usually Robert and I are giving the comments, but we are, of course, good hosts and we let you say something first. So what about listening to a demo of one of the Marotopian community? Are you up for it?
Of course. Yes. I'm a dab hand at this feedback thing. So yeah, let's do it.
Fantastic. Then I would say, Andre, press the play button, please.
Okay, let's listen to what's coming up.
Sounds a bit like that it's played from a record. No?
Yeah, I
that
mean-
sounds it.
So who's going first?
I'll go
You
first
guys.
if you want.
No, not me. Right, go for it, Harvey.
By the way, I wasn't looking away, not paying attention when it was on. I was just writing some stuff down so I don't forget. So,
Me
yeah,
too.
I think the track's got like a really lovely vibe, but right away, really dubby, really nice. Musically, vibe, can't fault it at all. Things that I would say would maybe help improve it. I would say there doesn't seem like the track. Oh no, I know it's a really kind of plodding on and really deep and simple kind of dubby vibe, but I feel there's no drum progression in it. And I'm not talking about huge drum progression. I'm just talking about when the drums come in, they literally stay the same. And I feel they could be just slightly subtle change of hi-hats or something just to make it the brain feel like it's stepping on a little tiny bit. One of the other things I felt like the top layer of all the bass and all the stuff in it sounded fantastic. But again, with the drums, I don't know whether maybe some compression or whatever to give some energy on the drums, but I felt the drums just kind of did a certain job. They lacked a slight subtle energy to them, and I'm not sure whether that could be achieved by compression, or maybe what I noticed was your hi-hat. I felt the hi-hat, and don't get me wrong, it sounds really nice at the beginning, but I feel as it goes on, either another hi-hat brought in, but I feel that the hi-hat is of more like the high-end range of the hi-hat, whereas see if you had a hi-hat that had something with a bit more mid-range or sort of punch in it, it would sort of complement the kick and give it a nice sort of rolling energy. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I noticed. Yeah, so I just really felt it was the drum progression I think could be slightly improved on it. But musically and all the other stuff on it was fantastic. I just felt slight subtle things with the drums underneath that layer, and it would be absolutely spot on. I did think when I'd seen in the comments some people saying they liked the vocal, some people saying they didn't. One thing I did find and I thought the vocal sounded good with the track. I thought when it came in, I thought sonically it felt different from the rest of the tune a bit. It was kind of like a bit clear. I felt like it kind of sat a bit rather than blended in. But apart from that, and these are all things that I wouldn't say are wrong with it. These are just things I would say that if these were adapted and improved, it would be even better than it is. But it's a really cracking little track. I enjoyed it right away.
Nice.
Yeah. Lots of input.
That was a pro feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
I'll go next. I mean, for me, I thought the low end was working great. Even on these earplugs I'm wearing, definitely impressed with that low end. The low end kind of like area in the mix for there. Atmospheric. The background was moving very well. Right in there with the groove. Very kind of like, wow, straight in there, working fine. The vocal I find a little bit off-putting, but maybe when it came in, it was slightly off-key for me. And when it left as well, the two-end, the kind of bookend pitch seemed just a little bit off-key for me. Felt a little bit for me a little bit out of place with the track, but with a bit more processing or destruction could maybe work on that. I'm not sure. I just for me it was a kind of not my favorite part of the track. Also, there was like a little upper synth lead at the end that felt a little bit out of place, or maybe it was the phrasing could have been improved upon. But impressed with the mix down on, especially listing off sound. Is it SoundCloud? I don't know what it is, but it's definitely. Impressed with that. I just think I'm in Harvey's side when it comes to the phrasing of the percussion. Some parts dragged on a little bit. I thought it could be a little change on a 16 or 32. Maybe something a bit more hookier on the percussion could have worked. Maybe the swing, I don't know, a slight change in the swing. But yeah, that was what I thought. That was off the bat, and I wrote all that down so I wouldn't forget it, just like Harvey, ADHD posse. Yeah, good track. Yeah, it's on its way. So, but yeah, those are the things I noticed when I listened to it.
And Lars, the thing is, it's like if somebody just sent me that track, I'd be like, "That's a track." I would like you'd buy it off. Like cracking track. It's only because we're really going right. What could we?
Nitpicking.
Nitpicking. But like, you
a complete track. It sounds like a complete ready-made track. Yeah,
just that dynamic. And I find like that dynamic between sometimes when people are picking sounds, it's like picking sounds that really complement each other. And it's like sometimes like I'll use compression sometimes, and sometimes I'll really it's the envelope, and it's basically how the sound opens and stays open and closes, and the way that your kick and your bass, and even the length and the envelope of the hi-hat, how they all intertwine off each other can really, really control your energy. So like even that hi-hat, if you swap that hi-hat for something that was a hi-hat but had a bit of a kind of wood blocky sound just slightly underneath it, you would hear it instantly have energy.
Exactly, because it was a little bit resonant, that hi-hat that came like really into the forefront of the mixer. Because I was looking at it in the EQ in my brain. I was like, maybe we could fucking change that a little bit, or do what Harvey was saying, adding something a little bit like around the mid area, just to give it a little bit more welly in that area, because I felt it was lacking in that area a little bit. But these are just stupid things I think about when I'm listening to tracks. I don't hear music, I just see it.
Yeah, same. And sometimes as well, what I'll say is sometimes like don't just change the sound, because sometimes you've got like that hi-hat will probably be doing its job, but maybe you could just layer another one underneath it to fill the space that misses. Because sometimes what a lot of people want, this is one of the things as well, I'll say to people when people are working in tracks, sometimes people will get to the end of a track and they'll literally be like, they'll try and compress it and EQ it, and they'll try and boost all these different things to get at the track sonically where it is, and maybe really all you need to do is add something where it's missing, rather than trying to force it up with dynamics and EQ. Whatever you're missing, add it in. Like one of the tools I used to use, I still use it a lot, but I use a drum sequencer called Microtonic by Sonic Charge, and sometimes if I'd made a track and it got to the end, yeah, it's a fantastic toy, right? I've actually got a track coming out on DJ Hell Experience label, and do you know what? The bass lines and stuff in it are kind of quite inspired by a lot of your stuff as well, Mark, and stuff. You when you hear it, I'll send you it later on, right? But I used the kick drum in that. But going slightly off topic, one of the things that's good about this drum synthesizer is the fact that it's got the side for percussion, and you can make hi-hats from scratch, but it's got a beautiful white noise kind of hi-hat maker. And what I'll tend to find is if I've done a track and it's maybe slightly on the dull side and it's got sort of percussion, I'll, rather than trying to boost it up, I'll use the Microtonic and create a really nice, crispy, like white hi-hat just slightly underneath, and it just brightens the whole track up without me having to touch the EQ, and stuff like that can be really helpful. So rather than trying to fix it where it's not, just layering something in to do that job.
Robert, what about inviting the two of them every week?
They do the job quite well. No, I'm
Marotopia take over tonight.
Yeah, completely take over. Actually, for me, the track was too static. I really love dub music or dubby stuff, but the cool thing about dub, for me, is that you have this micro changes. This really good dub is like a living entity. It's just wobbling, and talking to you. And this track was somehow like I was like sitting here and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And yeah, the drums were super static, just simple. It was okay, but there was no automation, no little reverb,
no
here,
live,
a little delay, slight things that bring life to this.
Yeah, the life was missing.
So for me, it was a bit static. Almost, I mean, like I was missing something, but I say this from a perspective of not being a DJ.
No, you say it from a perspective of an experienced producer. I mean, we are doing this shit, excuse my French, for 30 years, and I mean, of course, that's why we are doing this show and attending the retreat. The aliveness was missing, so the mood of the track, the atmosphere was amazing. 10 of 10. no question. But this aliveness, this subtle changes, and that's what I mention in almost every demo session. Make a session. Switch on your 303 or your Juno or whatever you have, your micro Zwerg, and make a session over the track, record it so that you have some real aliveness with some intention and some things which are magical because you don't think so much about it. Twiddle the knobs and put session elements on top of the track, or with a drum computer or TR8, I don't know, 1 million possibilities. And then you have the aliveness. And another magical idea is dynamic mixing. I mean, it's something I learned.
Yeah.
It's something I just learned when I did my album with Kenichi like 12 years ago. Lars made an amazing remix of one track. And this was the first album where I learned dynamic mixing, because the album was ready and it sounded so static that I was like, what's wrong with the entire album? And then I got the hint, try some dynamic mixing, and everything stayed the same except the volume curves, and the problem was solved.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was going to say as well, Robert, what you were saying is, and a lot of people don't realise this, and it's quite hard to grasp at the beginning, because sometimes you'll listen to a track like the dubby stuff you're talking about as well, that like it gets like A3 and it's 7 minutes long, and you're like, there's nothing in that, but the whole time was engaged. But what people don't realise is, to a trained ear, when you listen to it, there's all these little subtle tricks going on to keep your brain engaged all the time, and that's the key with music. That's
ear
how
candy. You need to sprinkle ear candy. That's what I do.
It's like it's like constantly trying to just go boop, boop, and sometimes it can be the smallest thing, but the brain just goes, oh, what's that? And it's keeping the brain engaged, and it'll be like, as you say, with the dubby stuff, it'll be like maybe even sometimes it can just be slightly different, changing the timing of one of the delays, or just like tiny things, but every now and again just throwing something in for the brain to just keep to feel like it's getting something.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
for me it's like yeah. For me it's like you a track have a few levels, and the first one is like for the mind, like the main elements, but you also have a level for the subconscious, and you keep the subconscious working with all the decoration in your track. It's behind the track. It's something you don't hear directly, but it's, at least in my music, constantly working something in the background. It's not the main elements. The main elements are the main elements actually have to stay kind of pure, because that's the elements you trust. Every good track have elements that you trust. I mean, you know, they stay, they don't change too much, because they bring you through the track. They are your uncle. They take you by the hand. Hey, I come with you.
The foundation.
Yeah, but the subconscious needs something else. Right?
Yeah,
I think as well, and one of the things, like when the pandemic happened as well, and I was like literally, like for a really good while, I was like locked in the studio as well, and I was just constantly playing with lots of new stuff, and really, because I wasn't planning to put lots of music out, and I was like, okay, I've got a few things lined up, let's see how this pans out. I was, rather than feeling the pressure to make music for a certain thing, I was just experimenting, and I was experimenting, learning all sorts of new techniques. And one of the things that I like to do, and I've started to do in a lot of my newer music, is I've started to try and really throw curveballs of bringing things in completely the wrong and strange time. So you'll be listening, like, whoa, and it's like, and it's really fun to figure out how to do these changes. And it's what I've started doing as well, is I've started throwing in distractions. So like when a track's doing something and I want to like, so say it would go, it's natural rotation, I'll change it halfway through but I'll drop something in so that the brain goes, what's that? Oh, and by the time it comes back, it's changed. And it's all these, and that's one of the things that I feel in the first half of my career, it's learning to really get these ideas down. It's learning to make the music. And then now the second half, it's like I'm starting to try to play tricks with people and really thinking, how can I do things differently?
Totally.
Yeah.
Shall we go to demo number 2?
Yeah.
And before we start, I see we have a secret guest waiting.
Oh, nice.
Down there.
Somebody sneaked in our studio.
Somebody is in the studio. A guy called Danny is waiting in the background. I think we can bring him in after the second track, right?
Yeah.
Danny, are you there? Do you see us? Yeah? Do you see us? No, we don't hear you. But if you say something on this chat thing. But let's listen to the demo, and then after that we bring Danny in.
Yes, alrighty.
Our secret
music play. right. First of all, thanks for sending the demo. And Lars, you have the first word.
Yeah, I love the big wide bass kick drum. Great, straight off the bat, boom. Nice, sound like a nice mix off the get go. Yeah, I do agree with someone in the chat about the clap snares a little bit too prominent in the mix. I would have either shelved a little bit of that top end off, make it less fizzy, or maybe down a couple of dB. And also the nice call response stuff with the upper synth and that nice dip. I wasn't expecting that dip when it came in the arrangement. And then you changed up the bass line, which was a good idea. So, yeah, I'm kind of quite positive about this one, actually. But from what I heard, the part I heard, anyone else?
Harvey?
Yep, sure. So, yeah, there's a lot of really good potential in there. Like, there was like a few bits in that I thought that's a really strong little section. I loved the whole vibe. There was a couple of bits where it stopped and the synth noises were really nice. And I was thinking, the better that he gets at production when he nails this idea, it's going to be super strong. The things I would say that caught me were, I felt the intro was a bit long. And I felt when it came in, all it did was break and come back in and give a snare. And I felt like that wasn't rewarding enough. I felt like it was like drums, like there was like stripped back drums a bit. And then when the drums came in again, it was just more drums. There wasn't really any. I feel like on your first little intro and then little prelude break, it's almost like, right. And then here we start. And I felt like the track didn't start. I felt like it went stripped back drums, just more drums. And there wasn't that musicality or character that had come in to let you know what that journey was you were beginning. I felt like that started, the personality and the character came in far further along in the tune. And I feel if you had used some of those elements earlier on as little snippets or little teasers of what was to come, I feel that it would have benefited the track. Because I felt for the first half of the track, I felt like, although it was nicely put together, I felt like it was more like a bit of a tool of a track, as in it didn't have that musicality to it. But in the second half, I felt that coming in. One of the things that I thought it might not work, doesn't always work, but I felt in the problem the area that I'd said from your drums at the start, where then it just came in, and I think it came in with a snare and something else. There's a section in it later on in the track where your track just comes in, and it's after, I can't remember if it's the first or the second break, but the track comes in and it's just the nice kind of rumbling bass line and a kick drum, and it's stripped back. A lot of times in tracks is what I'll do is I'll have the intro of some nice sort of drums building up, and then it'll stop, and then I'll have the main riff or bass line with just the kick drum, and it's almost like, here's some drums as a little warm up. Now here's we're starting, here's a bit of the character, and then I'll slowly start building it up from there. So it's almost like a little intro, an interlude, and then right, here's where we're starting. Rather than that, felt like to me it was like a drums and then build, and then it wasn't enough of a progression. So all the good stuff was happening in the middle and afterwards, and I think some of that could be incorporated more to the beginning to let people know what's coming.
Nice. Yeah, but I can imagine that you really like the sounds of
Yeah.
the track. I thought so. When I think about your music, I can imagine that it addresses you.
Yeah. There's some really nice sounds in there. I think there was one sound, I think one of the first synths that came in, and it was like dun, 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 little keys over the top of what was already there. I felt at first I don't know if this was a different sound or it was just slightly filtered down as the tunes went on. He still had those little keys that were like playing little teasers over the top. The synth sounded great later on, but earlier on, I'm not sure whether it was a different synth or maybe just the filter position. But I felt I like the first time I heard it, I was like, and then as it went on, I went, oh no, I like that. So whether it was just the filter position or a slightly different noise, first time in hearing it, it's hard to tell. But as I say, really, really strong sounds, some really good ideas in there if they were worked and if they were put to their full potential. Yeah, there's some cracking stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely worth to continue with the track, right?
Yeah,
Robert.
definitely. Yeah.
Robert, what do you think?
I'm just thinking of what do I remember of this track. I only remember that the snare was too much white noise and probably the first break had the very nice moment where the bass line was breaking out. That was nice. The second break was useless, just too long, boring, made no sense. But I like this moment when the synth of a bass line was breaking out. This was almost like a funky moment. That's what I remember.
Secondary bass line always works.
Funky is a good word. Yeah,
That's what I remember out of this track.
Yeah, and funky is a compliment.
I feel I had a sort of quirky vibe to it, and I think when these parts you're talking about were starting to dance over the top of it, that's where you felt it could go and have some character, but it maybe wasn't.
But he was not bringing it then.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, it needs on that secondary part. It needs work for sure when it kicks back in.
Okay, yeah. Before we come to the last demo and the third demo, I would like to invite another guest tonight. He's the host of the retreat. A big welcome to Dennis Savage. Hey, can you hear us?
Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, I can.
How are you?
All right, Danny.
I'm good. I'm not going to lie, right? I just went in. I just got my seat. It's got wheels on my office chair, and I tried finding some chocolate in this cupboard, and I just went flying off the thing. I think I broke my ankle. If you've got a video recording, it'll be amazing. I mean, I've never ever fallen like that in my life. It was literally, it was a proper fall. I went flying across the office. I smashed my arm, my ankle, and I just ran around the house. Yeah.
But the show must go on. I love it.
I imagine we just cut to Danny and he was just lying in a puddle.
Honestly, it would
just like nobody in the screen.
Danny!
Someone groaning on the floor. Help me.
I've got a recording of that. Thank you, because it was pretty amazing.
Nice TikTok movie.
Yeah, first of all, get well soon. So I hope it's not that bad.
I'm running a marathon in 2 days, so it's not good that my ankle's nearly broken. Do you know what I mean? I've been training for months, so yeah. Oh, let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's not.
All for some chocolate.
I know, yeah. I think when you started talking about bringing me on, I think I might have got anxious, and then chocolate's my thing. You know, like
some sugar.
Make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, so we talked already about your retreat in Ibiza. I think you have listened to it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I've been listening.
Because we asked Harvey as newbies what would expect us and the guests, and everything sounds very exciting and makes sense that you are offering such a thing to the people. So what do you want to say to the retreat, to the hotel area? Can you maybe tell us something about this and what would expect people there?
I think one of the main things that people will get from the retreat is being around like-minded people. You know, people, when you're a producer, you're stuck in a studio on your own. Unless you come on things like this to talk to you guys, but it's quite a lonely thing, and getting feedback and collaborating with other people. Most people don't have friends who are producers to give them.
You can never trust your friends.
Exactly, yeah. Or especially your girlfriend or boyfriend, you know, it's they're always going to say it sounds good. But I mean, just to be around other people like you, sharing the same sort of struggles as you and having the same goals as you, and switching off for a week to come to Ibiza, forgetting about your job, forgetting about your family and all these other distractions, switching your phone off and just concentrating on the music and hanging out with cool people, and then having you guys there to ask questions. One of the things we've tried in the past is like classrooms, workshops, all these sorts of things. It's boring. No one wants to sit in a classroom in Ibiza when it's nice and sunny, especially in a nice villa like we have. We've got a £10 million villa. So it's, you know, it's all about coaching one-to-one and being able to just ask questions. So cracking on with the work, making new music, working on old music, doing whatever you feel you want to do, but also improving in the areas that you need to improve, you know, because you can just ask questions to you experts.
Yeah, and
So
where in Ibiza is it located?
San Mateo, which is the far north. So it's I live right in the center. I live near Sant'Ilaria, so it's 15 minutes that way, and the airport's 20 minutes that way. So it's away from the clubs and all the distractions, which is good because you know we want people to be there for the right reasons, to be learning and not feeling like shit the next day. You know, so we've had villas near clubs and pubs and bars, and people tend to wander off in the middle of the night and not come home until 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, so it's not productive when you go out partying every night. But we do have nights where we take everyone to Pikes. The first night we go to Pikes together to get everyone bonding together.
Dangerous.
And then on the Thursday evening after the A&R session, we have a bit of a villa party, and then people can go clubs. So yeah, it's a nice mixture of balance.
Can you tell us something about the timetable? It's 5 or 6 days? 7?
Yeah, it's 7 nights, so it's Saturday to Saturday. People arrive Saturday daytime. They can check in anytime they want. We collect everyone from the airport. We have private drivers. We take you to the villa. We have food, chefs cooking meals every day. Everything's all inclusive, so we provide everything. And it's 7 nights, yeah. And the coaches are there from Monday to Thursday, so you get 4 full days of the coaching. You guys are going to come a day early, I think, and do some stuff on Sunday. We also take people to Metrica Studios in Playa d'Embossa with Javier and the team, and they'll blow you away with the 3D binaural sound system in the studio. It's amazing. So we have the villa, and we have the best studio, one of the best studios in Europe. What we take you to work in as well. We also we're working with some vocalists this year, where we're gonna help you with singer-songwriting class. So like a coaching where we teach you how to work with vocalists to steer you away from using splice sample packs and all these generic sample packs that everyone keeps using. So how to work with a unique vocalist and how to get the best from a vocalist, and then you're going to go into the studio and work with them and get some stems for the week ahead. So we try and make as much as possible, like interactive, different things, excursions, villa, coaching, night out, everything. We think of everything. And
ping pong training as well. Don't forget the ping pong training.
Of course, the ping pong training. I was at Adam's house today, and we brought this up again, and we've still not had our ping pong coaching.
You better get your skates on, mate. I'm coming over soon.
I know.
I can imagine that a lot of people are really keen to go there and to sell their music to an A&R manager. So have you already had this, that people went there, finalized their music and licensed it to a label?
We've had about 8 tracks signed over the last 6 years. We've been doing these retreats for 6 years, you see. So we've had about 8 tracks signed to labels over the past 6 years since we've been doing them. Most of the tracks were signed in 2019, the year before COVID. And then we didn't do any retreats for the best part of 2 years. Longer, yeah. We finally got back on our feet last year, and we managed to put together 3 retreats last year, I think. Last year we nearly had a complete beginner signed. He'd never made a track before, and he almost got signed. It still could get signed. They're in talks with the track, and that was his first ever track. So I think one of the things we have is a very broad range of different skill sets. We have people that have been producing for 20, 30 years who want to just come and perfect maybe mix down or something, you know. We've got one guy who just wants to pay money to come hang out with Hans Bieger. He said, I don't even want to make any music. I just want to come out and hang out with Hans Bieger, and he's willing to pay the money. So that's what he needs.
Yeah.
But then we also have complete beginners who will come and they will learn 10 times faster than they would if they did any online courses, because they're around other people. They've got all the coaches there. And they'll learn all the tips and tricks from all the other students on the retreat as well as the coaches. So they'll learn really fast.
I can imagine that beginners are really insecure when they think about coming. How can you remove the fear from these people that they say, oh, I have to come. I don't have to be anxious.
I think we screen everybody who comes on the retreats. We don't just let people book on the website, so we make sure the right people come on the retreats. And for this reason, we've never had an issue with anyone. It's always supportive, nice people who are there for the right reasons. They're there to make music and get better at making music, not necessarily get signed and get a career out of it. We have a lot of people that don't even want a career. They just like love making music in the spare time. So we make sure the right people come on the retreats, and everyone's completely supportive. Everyone likes to show off their skills. So when you've got loads of other people on the retreat who have been producing for years, decades, they always want to share their knowledge with up and coming new producers as well. So you get they get mentored by the whole group if you're anyone who's a beginner.
It's also a nice hobby just to make music, right?
Yeah, man.
You don't have to need a career like us who just ruin
I want to be mentored by Robert. I want to be mentored by Robert. I choose Robert. And not as well use Mark, but yeah, Robert. I'm a big fan of Robert for years now.
and I love your chords, as you know.
Thanks. I'm bringing
Guys,
you are the chord master for me.
I'm bringing my keyboard with me, so all good.
Do it.
We
do a track together. We do a special ping pong chord track.
Fantastic. Can't wait. And I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Guys, I'm gonna have to drop off. I'm 5 minutes late for a meeting, so I wasn't expecting to be called in, but I'm gonna have to shoot.
I hope your leg's better, mate.
Thanks for joining us. And
thank you.
It's been wicked. I've come back on after this meeting if you're still around in about 20 minutes. So
let's see. Yeah.
Likely not. All right. Yeah. Hopefully he's not that bad. All right. Demo number 3 before we go to bed. Are you ready, guys?
Yes. Let's go.
Let's do this. right. This was Field Trip with Forest People, and Harvey has the first words.
Okie doke. Right, so there's a few things, and it really depends what you would do with the track in future. I thought when the track started, I thought the little bass line, dum dum dum, I thought that was a really nice, really nice section, and I thought you could build a really nice groover off that with lots of character. But I felt, and this is the thing, I thought it had lots of personality, but I think it did a few things to hinder. So I think, so either the bass line in the groove that starts at the beginning, right? When the snare comes in it, I think it slows it because it is a nice little groove. But when the snare comes in, it's like, and it kind of stops your groove a little bit. I feel if it was going to be a groover, I feel like if it brought in a hi-hat to sort of bounce off that groove and just slowly build it, because I feel that's, for me, that first section where I heard it didn't get better from there, but for me there was a bit in there that was enough to carry the whole tune. That little groove, I thought you could really build off that. So first off, I would say the snare, as I say, that slows the energy. Secondly, one of the things I was going to say, as it goes along, I feel like it's doing lots of things, maybe a bit too many as it goes on, like all these little things happening. I feel a bit too many bells and whistles on it, perhaps. And I feel as it grows, I feel there's some elements in there that reminded me a little bit of Comtrues. I don't know if anybody knows Comtrues, kind of electro stuff, right? And I felt that as the track was rolling along and as it got to the break, it made me feel like this really strong lead was going to come in. It felt like it was going somewhere. It's like, wait for it. I'm going to add this. And I felt when it got to that break, it never did that for me. The bells and whistles slightly come in more to reward you rather than that part I felt the track was promising me as it was going on. So either I would say have a stronger sort of part in the break to give it like a strong, nice lead in it, or I feel at the beginning where that tune comes in, it's got that dun 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 dun, and it's got the bass line. I feel you could really work with that little groove at the beginning and make something really strong that way. Or if you went the other way and sort of started developing what you've got already, I feel the track makes me feel like I'm going to be rewarded with this synth line in the middle that doesn't come. And that's what I would, that's my feedback on it.
Yeah, could be mine.
Yeah.
Ditto.
There you go. Well,
You're good at this, Harvey.
Yeah.
Looking forward to working with you in the retreat, mate. We're copying your homework.
Maybe I register myself when you are there.
Well, listen,
I can learn from you.
Shall I say something? I mean, I really like this. I love the tempo. I love those hats. I like the choice of the hat. The hat was great. The weird quantization on it. All the segments are kind of evolving nicely. Nothing overstayed its welcome for me. And the groove for me was paramount. Well produced. Nothing bad to say about the mix in at all. I mean, this kind of, yes, I really, really like this track. I mean, the changes in the bass was nice. The way it kind of just weirdly went off a note. So yeah, I think the space in between sounds, just because maybe there was one or two elements that could have been done by taking out, but I didn't find much at fault with this at all. Though I like the processing on the toms. That was nice weird, but the whole kind of quirky weirdness I'm a big fan of. Even the upper lead, it wasn't in too long, but it still worked. But I think maybe it could have done with more like maybe braver drops, a little bit more kind of glitchier fills for this kind of vibe for this track. And maybe a stronger kind of half hat just to keep the groove really, on point. But I'm all thumbs up for me for this one.
Yeah, I have nothing to add, honestly. Robert, you?
Yes. Actually, I really I thought this upper sequence that is really, really catchy, and for me that's the main catchy phrase of the whole track. That this voice like sound was really, really catchy for me. I would love to hear more percussion. The groove was kind of even it was feeling empty you had a lot of sounds and they were big, but a bit more percussion, like really percussion sounds, and more hi-hat that really like let the whole track roll. Be a bit more minimal and more percussion with this very catchy sound would do it for me. But that, yeah, it's like always, it's personal.
No.
And it was this kind of strange feeling with this vocals sounds. That was nice. Like most of the music these days is so predictable and so same of the same. So if things are a little bit off, it can be nice.
Yeah, this is a very interesting aspect you are mentioning, because in these days where the, let's say, peak time techno top 100 has just one track, I realized that that our community is making a lot of individual stuff. Have you recognized that?
Yeah, the quality today from these tracks were all good.
Yeah, and I'm so
like
happy.
There was no bullshit, really. Like very nice.
And I'm so happy that I hadn't that we didn't listen to any uniform music tonight. So
yeah, every
thanks
track
a lot
was unique
to anyone.
Definitely. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
fantastic.
Nice.
Before we finish the show, I would love to learn something from you two guys. What about your next releases? So is there anything coming up from you? Lars, Harvey?
Lots of remixes. Kobana, I just remixed Kobana. That's coming out. What else? DJ Cube, remixed. That's coming out right now. Nothing original. I'm working on an EP, like a 4-track EP. So that's what I'm working on. No album yet. After like 15 years, nothing yet. But I'm still working on an original EP. That's what I'm doing, and a couple of remixes coming out. But yeah, keeping busy. I'm always working on remixes, to be honest.
Yeah, but please give us an original EP.
Yes, you know me.
Yeah.
Maybe after Ibiza, I'll have some inspiration from you guys.
Yeah, we
Ibiza.
Ibiza. We will teach you.
Thanks, guys.
Super. Harvey, what's coming up next?
Yeah, so I've got my next EP's coming out on DJ Hell's label. That's the one I'll send it over to you two guys as well. That's the one I'm saying has got it's some of the synth noises are quite inspired by a lot of the stuff that I've listened to you over the years, but it's a bit more aggressive. But you'll definitely hear it. So that's coming out on DJ Hell's label in April, and then I've got a remix I just did for Carlo Leo's label. And I'm just in the process of just getting my own label going just now. So I've got everything's organized, distributed. I've just literally just mastered the first release. So I'm quite excited about that, because I wanted to set up a label for a while, but it's one of those ones you're like, when the time is right, and you're like, the time's never right. So, and one of the problems I find is I gave this up a long time. I really don't write music for any label or any sound. I just sit down and make what I want to make, and lots of stuff's different. So sometimes I find it quite hard to find a home for tracks that I play that will destroy, because they don't really sit with some labels. So I'll release loads of music, but then I won't find a home for tracks that are smashing it, because they don't quite fit certain label sounds. So that's why I thought I'll start the label. I can also release other music that I like and give people a start as well, and release my music on it as well. So that's the kind of stuff I've got going.
Wonderful. Yeah. We're looking forward to it. Guys, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. I hope
super nice. It was a nice round today. It was
had a really good time. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, and we will see us
very soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Robert.
Yeah, we did it. Nice. And
it was a good show, right?
Really. It's cool to have guests.
Inspiring,
really cool guests.
vital.
Very nice. Very nice. And we all meet in Ibiza. and this will be nice.
Yeah, and we really should finish our EP.
Oh, yeah, Marc, I was ready and waiting for you here in this place, but you didn't come. You didn't take the plane. Guys, we planned this show today should be made from here with Marc sitting here. But you see, Marc is not here, he's there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I stayed at home. But to tell the people something, Robert sent me some live session recordings today.
Yes.
And within the next days, I will do something with your, for sure, amazing session. And then we hopefully, finally, eventually finish our EP together before I die. Dear Marotopians, thanks so much for joining us. It was a big pleasure. We are not around that often anymore, but if we are around, it's a big, big pleasure. And I can't wait to see you next time, and maybe in Ibiza. Bye-bye. Yes.
And we finish with one of my next releases that comes out on my own label. But
press play.
Press play and goodbye.